The Roman Empire wasn't built on courage alone. It was built on debt. Yeah, you heard that right. Behind those legendary legions stood mountains of loans, interest, and profit motives. Everyone talks about Roman soldiers with words like honor, discipline, and glory. But no one tells you this. What really kept them fighting was the money system. Thousands of soldiers, tons of weapons, food, roads, horses, siege machines. All of it cost money. And how did Rome pay for all that? They borrowed. Yes, the empire was literally a debt economy. At first it was simple. Rome's army was made of farmers. If you had land, you fought. When the war ended, you went home and farmed again. But then came the big conquests. Longer wars, bigger costs. That system couldn't keep up anymore. So Rome said, all right, we're building a professional army now. The state started paying soldiers, not much, but just enough to buy loyalty. Then they found a new formula. Let war pay for itself. Every conquest brought new taxes, slaves, gold, tribute. War became a self-funding machine. But the dark side came quickly. Taxes weren't enough anymore. Rome started borrowing heavily from its wealthy elites, especially the equities, the financial class. And they didn't lend out of patriotism. They did it as an investment. In return, they demanded interest, tax collection rights, trade privileges in new territories. War had become a business model. The more profitable it was, the more wars Rome started. Sound familiar? Over time, the entire Roman economy became dependent on it. Generals gained power by promising loot. Senators became shareholders in violence. That famous Roman discipline. It was just the ancient version of the military-industrial complex, but debt kept growing. Costs exploded. And when the treasury ran dry, they pulled the oldest trick in the book. They diluted the currency. The silver in their coins dropped. Money lost value. Inflation surged. Trust vanished. The rich converted their wealth into land, slaves, and foreign accounts. The poor kept paying taxes with money that was worth less every day. Rome wasn't conquering anymore. It was squeezing its own people to survive. And if you look around today, the pattern is the same. Governments are drowning in debt. Central banks keep printing money. Defense companies grow richer. The wealthy buy assets. The poor pay the price. The only thing that changed is the language. We don't call it tribute anymore. We call it taxes. We call it monetary policy. But it's the same system. Governments spend more. Money loses value. The US spent $2 trillion in Afghanistan. Most of it borrowed. Who profited from that? And who paid for it? You already know the answer. Rome's mistake was simple. They built an economy that needed constant growth to survive. When conquest stopped, collapse followed. Today we call it infinite growth. But the math is the same. History teaches one truth. Empires don't fall when enemies invade. They fall when the math stops working. Rome fell that way, and we're walking the same path. So next time you hear about a war, a stimulus, or a crisis, before you scroll, ask yourself, who prints the money? Who profits? Who pays? Because the answer to that explains everything. If this gave you a new perspective, hit subscribe. History is the cheapest way to understand the present. I'll show you where to look.